I totally cheated my way to learning cover songs. So I'm going to get the computer up and I'm going to show you exactly what it is that I do. So I've got a D kurd handpan. I've got lots of different scale handpans, but for years, for the first maybe 6 years, I only had a D kurd. And I learned so many different songs that are in so many different keys on that same handpan. And this is how I did it. So there's a website called ultimateguitar.com. There are loads of websites online, loads of stuff available for you to use to learn the chords to your favourite songs. I know about this website because before I played the handpan, I played guitar, and I used this site to learn other people's songs. So what I do is I find the song that I want, look it up on there, and find the chords for it. Now, the first thing that you need to know whether or not you can play this song on your pan is what notes you have available on your pan. So usually when you buy it, you know what key it's in. Sometimes they have funny names, but the next website that we can use is a lovely website called handpan.com. So on this website, there's a little drop-down list here, and you can find your scale on the handpan. So find your starting note first, so your ding, the center tone, find what note that is, click it, then select the scale, and then on the tabs underneath you can see that you've got loads of different options to explore on your handpan. So the tab that you want is the chords tab, and there you can see what chords you've got available to you. Now if you pay most attention to the major and minor chords, you're pretty much set. Everything else on there is just a variation of one of those chords, so don't worry too much about that. It's the major and minor chords that you'll be most interested in. So now you can see what chords you have available, and you can cross-reference that with the chords that are in the song that you want to learn, right? If those chords are not in that song, then what you can do is go to the bottom of ultimateguitar.com or your selected website and transpose. And if you don't know which way to go, if your handpan is in D, for instance, and this song starts on the chord A is below D. So you want to translate up in the alphabet, right? A, B, C, D. So keep transposing until you find the D, right? If your handpan is in D and this song is in G, maybe you can try transposing down, G, F, E, D, right? And you can go either way, to be fair, it'll find its way there anyway. But what you have to be careful of is D kurds, for instance, are not in D major, they're in D minor. So you need to know whether your scale is a major or minor scale. Those are two very, very different chords, different keys. So those need to align as well, whether or not it's a major or minor chord. So once you've found the right chords and you've got all of the right matching chords, or you're only missing one, for instance, if it's a more complicated song, then you can learn where all of those chords are on your handpan. Again, Handpanner is amazing. You click the chord and it shows you exactly where the notes are to make that chord, so you can figure all of those out. And then you just follow the sheet on ultimateguitar.com and learn that song. Now, it's not quite as simple as that, obviously. If only it were that simple. There are a few other little things that you'll need to know. For instance, when I talked about that major and minor stuff earlier, if you want to play a song in a major key, but your handpan is in a minor key, or you want to play a song in a minor key, but your handpan is in a major key, then you need to know what the relative major or minor is of that scale. Sounds complicated, but it's not. Basically, to figure it out, you can either do it logically and know how it works, or you can Google it, which is what I do as a time saver. But the way it works is the relative major of D minor, for instance, the D kurd, is F major. And the reason you know that is because if you look at a keyboard and you find the D, and you count 3 semitones up, 3 half steps up, you get to the F. So D, D sharp, E, F, right? And that's how you find the relative major. If you want to find the relative minor, say you've got an F major handpan, you do it the other way around. So the relative minor of F major is D minor. So what a relative scale is basically a different key that shares all of the same notes. So F major and D minor share all of the same notes, but they start in a different place, and that's what gives them a different feel. The easiest one to figure out in the early days is C major and A minor, because on a keyboard it's just all of the white notes. But when you start on a C and go up 8 notes, it sounds happy. When you start on an A and move up 8 notes, it sounds sad. That's it in its simplest form. But you can Google it, and there is loads of different websites and resources that show you on the piano what chords are in this key and this scale, so you can see then, you can again cross-reference that with your handpan and see whether or not your pan has actually got all of the chords in that scale. Not every handpan does. For instance, there are a lot of pentatonic scales, like my Meridian handpan, which is an F minor kind of, but it's pentatonic. It's only got 5 notes, so it doesn't have all of those chords. It only has 3 chord options, I think. So it depends again on what mode your handpan is in, what variation of the scale it is. And again, you can cross-reference to figure out if you have all of those chords. And that's pretty much it. Then I would recommend really getting to know the pan, getting to know where all of the notes are, getting to know the chord shapes, so that when you're reading it, your body will just naturally move into those shapes. Rufus Naylor, stop grumbling. Yeah, once you've learned those shapes, then you can learn lots of different ways to play those chords. I recommend my video, How to Make Chords More Interesting, and how to bring rhythm into those chords as well. And then you can learn the song. So that won't give you the melody of the song on the pan. It will just give you the chord structure. This is how I learn covers. And with that chord structure, you can accompany your voice or another player playing the melody or another singer. If you wanted to learn the melody, you could then see if you can figure it out by ear. But I tend to sing over the top, so I've got no need to do that. If you're resourceful, there are loads of ways that you can go about learning other people's music. And it doesn't have to come from one person showing you exactly how to do it. Obviously, we all learn in different ways, and that is helpful a lot of the time, and I've learned that with other instruments. But that's not going to come from me, unfortunately, because I just don't believe in teaching other people's songs on YouTube. And I believe in everybody expressing things in their own way. You know, the beauty of going out and learning it and figuring it out yourself is that your interpretation is going to be vastly different from what my interpretation would be. Hugely different. And so we can have 100 covers of the same song on handpan and they will all sound different because you've all approached it in a different way. And that's what I would love to see. So I encourage you to go out and see if you can figure out what you can do on your handpan and learn some songs and have fun with it.